One NIL, one team. Welcome back, hour two, inside the Gamecocks, the show, always live from the Sinorama Studios, part of the Chief Sports Network, and that is served by Dixie Vodka. It's the weekend. Dixie Vodka should be on your table. It's JC Shurburtt, Phil Molinax, myself, JB, Mark Bonnoitt with Garnet Trust, which is now Garnet Trust absorbing Carolina Rise, and they're all one. Thanks to Stuart Lake, of course, and Mike Morgan in hour one. Mike will be back coming up at 1 o'clock, and then Matt Anderson will be jumping in about 20 minutes or so as well. Mark, I think I said that right, correct? Mark Bonnoitt?
You nailed it on the first go.
Okay.
I like it.
All right. Well, I wanted to be sure, so I texted them during the break, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. So we got that right. So that's settled. So first of all, congratulations. This is a great opportunity. I'm going to step out of the way in just a second and really let you and JC have all the words on this. But I've been with JC for quite some time, and I know what he's done with Carolina Rise and why it was so important, and then why it was so important for the two of you to come together. So congratulations on all of your hard work, and I'll just speak on behalf of our audience. Thanks for what you do for Gamecock Athletics.
Yeah, well, happy to be here. Appreciate y'all having me on. I don't know if it's a congratulations that I get to work with JC every day or not, but
it is.
We've been working together behind the scenes for a while now. I'm really excited to continue that partnership in an official capacity, and excited for what we got coming up for Gamecock Athletics in the NIL space.
Yeah, I apologize. My Garnet Trust beanie did not get here in time.
Oh man,
it's on the way. I had said 7, maybe on the 7th or 8th. It should be here today. Watch it get here like 2 hours after we get off. But,
who do we blame that on, JC?
The mail, the United States Postal Service, and the state of Illinois.
I was going to say just put it on Coach Tanner. He gets blamed for everything else, so the mail can be his problem too.
Ray Tanner causes the mail to run slow, sir. Slow.
Send him a text and let him know he needs to speed them up.
I had a big monologue at the beginning and kind of just expressed my gratitude for the situation and excitement, I guess, for lack of a better term, Mark. But, there's my perspective that I've given our audience for a while. So what I'd like to do is just kind of fill us in on what's been until now, what's been going on with Garnet Trust, the growth, the initiative that you guys had, or that we had in December. With the matching funds and sort of, kind of the state of things, I guess, for lack of a better term, to kind of fill our audience in.
Yeah. So just kind of a little background, and then we can kind of get into the depth of it a little bit. I grew up in South Carolina. I went to the University of South Carolina, had a totally different career path before last January. I guess last December. So I got a phone call. It said, "Hey, would Garnet Trust NIL be something you'd be interested in getting involved in?" And I was getting married at the time, and so I said, "Well, what better time to change career paths than starting a marriage all at the same time?" So I joined officially Garnet Trust with Jeremy Smith in January of 2023. We were the first. Before then, it was all volunteer based. We were the first full-time employees, and kind of started there. Went around the state, had a couple of different fundraisers. Just trying to get some, our initiative early on was to keep Spencer Rattler. And that was kind of our goal from the first day I started. And obviously I feel like that paid dividends as far as that kind of investment that we made early on into Spencer. But it took money to get there. And so then of course, throughout the year, we went around the state trying to just brand Garnet Trust, right? And then obviously we had our partnership with the university come out in late July as the official NIL partner of the university. Fast forward, that allowed us to have some marketing opportunities into the stadium in the fall, and kind of allowed us to do a little bit more. We did some of these 50-50 jackpot things. We obviously at the end of the season, we launched our $1 million match, as JC alluded to, which we met, cleared by $200,000, which we were excited about. And very, very appreciative to the anonymous donor to put up that $1 million match. And so we're off and running in 2024. We've had 300% growth in membership since I started in January of 2023. So a little over a year in, we've grown 300%, which is great. And I think that number increased even more yesterday. So we're excited to add, I think, JC, what are we at? 1,200 new members or so yesterday?
Yeah, Carolina Rise was right at 1,200, and there'll be some replication, but I don't think anybody's going to cancel one, and I mean they're just going to merge them. So yeah, it's essentially 1,200.
This is wild. And JC and I started talking about this, I guess, 6 months ago, a year ago, and one of the first conversations I said to JC, I said, that I work for Garnet Trust and I still give. I'm in for 10. I still do $10 a month to Carolina Rise. So obviously I was a member of Garnet Trust and Carolina Rise before I even started either one of these jobs. I understood the importance of NIL. I feel like I understood the importance of early on. I looked at the list whenever JC sent it to me, and I was the 70th member of Garnet Rise. So I was one of the original 100. So I was excited about that. But listen, I'm dedicated to the Gamecocks and excited for this partnership.
Ole Miss, we've talked privately about Ole Miss and their collective, and lo and behold, today I see that they're having a bracket buster challenge. Really smart idea what they're doing, trying to get to 10,000 members. Red River, Florida had some upheaval. They're kind of restructuring things, and then I don't think Steve Spurrier throwing Billy Napier under the bus helped their cause. But anyway, they seem to be right at 3. So combine. I mean, that's the Gators, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be right over. We're gonna be right at 4,500 members or so after we've combined our Garnet Trust and Carolina Rise membership list. So I'm excited to do that. I mean, and on top of that, there's some folks who give one-time gifts. And so, it's a growing cause. And I mean, really and truly, Jeremy and I have been to a couple of different conferences. As some of you might know, Garnet Trust has joined this association called TCA. The Collective Associations is compiled of about 35 Power 5 collectives across the country: Ole Miss, Tennessee, Florida State, Louisville, Washington, Oregon. Big school collectives, and really and truly, even 2,500 members. Now we're going to be close to 4,000, 3,500, 4,000 members. I mean, that is as competitive as anywhere in the conference. Ole Miss has got 7,500 members. They're leading the pack on the low dollar side. But as far as where we are, I mean, I think Florida State, who probably spent somewhere in the neighborhood of, $7 to $10 million this past year, they've only got about 1,000 members, I think. And so, a lot of their funding is coming from mass sources. But I think our membership structure is as competitive as anywhere in the league.
I want to squeeze a question in on that, guys, if you'd oblige me a couple of minutes to do so, because JC has spoken about this numerous times as JC's communicated what I'm about to say, and I want to get it from your side too and the importance of it. Before I do that, let me squeeze 2 quick things in. One, we've, I think, done y'all a favor. And if for everybody that has our app downloaded, the Chief Sports app, there's a Garnet Trust logo right on the homepage now, and you click it, and everything that's on their website, I mean, it's there and pretty and easy. So, if you're somewhere and you're an app guy or gal, you can just click our app and you can sign up, subscribe, donate, whatever you want to do. Everything that they have on their website is built now into the Chief Sports app for convenience. That's number one. Number two, some news today, and I'll be interested to follow along. Senator Ted Cruz will have an NIL roundtable next week, and the guests are another Senator, Jerry Moran from Kansas, but also Nick Saban, ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, NIL stars and twins Haley and Hannah Cavender, Alabama Athletic Director Greg Byrne, the Collective Association President Russell White, and a guy that I've had on my show a few times in the past, NIL attorney Darren Heitner. So that's going to be an interesting ordeal. Back to what I was saying, though, you mentioned all that money that Florida State gets. that money can dry up in a hurry if you're only going after the big dogs. They get pissed off over something, and whatever they gave is gone. JC has mentioned over and over and over, it was always important to him to have not only strength in numbers, but to make sure that Carolina Rise was able to communicate with every level of human being who was willing to participate, from $1 to $1 million or whatever it is. So can you kind of give us your angle on that, and why it's important to make sure, per that Florida State situation, that it could blow up in no time, why it's important to Garnet Trust to make sure that they are able to offer something to everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first you got to have a sustainable model. And I mean, just like you mentioned, it could blow up at any moment in time. So all of a sudden, imagine if you had a donor who committed $3 million to the football team or basketball team or whatever it may be, and then the donor doesn't like something that Coach Beamer does, or Coach Paris does, or Coach Staley does, right? Then they could say, well, you only got $1 million of my dollars. You're not getting the other $2, right? And so then it blows up your whole budget. Sustainability, I mean, that's a huge portion of it from the membership piece, right? But I mean, I tell people all the time, if you want to give me $10 a month, you can give me $10 a month. If you want to give me $10,000 a month, there's a spot for you too, right? I mean, and I think that's what we have to reiterate. There has to be strength in numbers. There isn't oil coming out of the ground in Columbia, South Carolina. Although sometimes I wish there was, but we understand that. And I think Gamecock fans understand that. We had yard signs. We had kind of a blast of a graphic kind of thing in the last couple of games of the season, put it in the stadium too, is if every person that, every season ticket holder, every person that goes to games, they give $10 a month, that'd be $9.5 million a year, right? I mean, and so like they're going to spend $10 on the hot dog they could get in between the first and second quarter, right? And so if you had, I mean, and that's not realistic, I know, to think all 77,000 people are going to give us $10 a month, right? But the idea is that if you can do that, then that makes the model sustainable. It's not putting a burden on anyone else, and you're not relying on one person giving you millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever it may be. Now, don't get me wrong, that's still a portion of the puzzle, right? I mean, absolutely, you've got to have folks that are willing to write bigger checks. But for sure, long-term, sustainability-wise, membership is the driving factor.
Yeah, and then, Carolina wins a championship one day, everybody can feel like they chipped in,
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, this is the first time fans, because you can flip it around, because the people are like, well, we buy tickets and we build buildings and we give money and all that. And great. Yeah, you do. But you're always, when you do that, you're still putting the fate of your team in the hands of a coach or recruiter or whatever. And it's still up to the coaches. I mean, we don't go out and decide who's going to be on the roster or not, However, you can set your coaches up for great success in terms of personnel if you fund this, because this matters all of a sudden. And so, whereas you build a building or whatever, but you don't have the right players or the right coach working out in that building, it's not going to matter. But if you, pay for the players or support the players directly, that is going to have more of an immediate impact. You kind of control your own destiny with it. I tell fans that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, you get mad at the offensive coordinator, that's fine, right? But I mean, if you got an offensive coordinator that doesn't have a line that can block or a running back that can run, then it doesn't really matter, right? And I mean, he can call the best ball plays in the world, but I mean, you've got to have the guys that can do the job. And I mean, I tell people all the time, as long as I've been a Gamecock fan, and desired success for the Gamecocks and win championships at every level in every sport, then I can't expect success unless we give them the resources to be successful. And I think that's been the case the whole time, right? I mean, how could we expect, Will Muschamp to recruit unless he had a top-notch operations facility to do that, right? And our administration gave that to him. How can we expect Coach Staley and Coach Paris to recruit unless they have a really nice operations facility within the old Coliseum, as well as a really great game day environment in Colonial Life Arena? Our administration's put together. That is, I mean, we had to have all that, but now the new level is NIL. And I mean, I can't expect Coach Paris to go attract and retain talent to an NCAA tournament team unless we give him the resources to do that. And I mean, this is the resource. And so I can't reiterate enough how important NIL is in this space. And I had a conversation this morning. Listen, whether you like it, love it, hate it, whatever it is in between, it's not going away. It might change. You know, I know that they're as you mentioned, JB, they're having some of these roundtables and trying to talk about legislation. We got some legislation in South Carolina that's going to make an impact, but it's not going away. College players are still going to get paid moving forward. It might be in a different structure. It might not all be donor funded. It might not be in the collective world. But this is here to stay. And so we got to make sure that we provide our coaches the resources to be competitive.
Yeah, I don't think Ted Cruz is going to get very far, man. He's not the most well-liked. Maybe things have changed, but
at least he's got the right people there. You know,
yeah, I think so. I think that's a good group. There's no Gene Smith from Ohio State who sat there and complained about pay for play, and then Ohio State was, $13 million all in.
Hey, don't forget, JC, that was after they hired Ross Bork, right? So Gene's still there till the end of the year, but I think that Ross down at A&M might have brought some oil donors with him whenever he went to the Buckeyes.
Yeah, South Carolina does not. It's a smaller state population wise. You have to share it with Clemson. I do think though, if Ole Miss has 7,500 members and they're trying to get to 10,000, there's no reason why South Carolina can't. It's a very similar fan base, makeup wise, lots of lawyers, lots of businesses. South Carolina probably is a twice as large population wise than Mississippi. Carolina is a bigger fan base than Ole Miss by a mile. But I think what we do well in South Carolina is hospitality, and I'll give you guys a lot of credit. We've had what, 3 events where Carolina Rise had 3 events. All were great, right? Garnet Trust really has a lot of awesome experiences for fans. And this is one thing I'm looking forward to our members getting to enjoy is all these experiences in and around Columbia and elsewhere. And so we do hospitality well in our state. We also do business well in our state. And we've got some plans for business memberships and stuff like that. What can you say about those 2 aspects and maximizing what our state is good at and what our people are good at to make it work for NIL?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the biggest thing is, like you said, experiences are great, right? And I kind of feel like experiences are good because I think sometimes people feel like NIL is this dark hole where you're just kind of throwing money at it and it's going to players and you trust the people that are doing it, but you still don't really know where your money's going. Whereas I think if you go to an event, you start to build a relationship with me, with Jeremy, with JC, you kind of understand a little bit more behind the scenes of how we're making some of these decisions. You get to meet the players. You have a personal relationship with the players, which is something Carolina fans really have never been able to do before because the NCAA and the university have had to protect the players so much in an official capacity. You don't go to the Beamer Ball and hang out with players. Well, now you can, and so those are the kind of things that I think open up opportunities for businesses. And also it allows transitioning from events to businesses. It allows for businesses to build their brands around players. And we've seen that for years in professional sports. I think about whether it be insurance commercials, car dealerships, Subway commercials, whatever it may be. We have seen tons and tons of professional athletes be associated with a brand forever. I think for anybody out there, and I'm sure you all have seen it, Air, the story of Michael Jordan and Nike is it really was. It happened obviously before NIL, and it was more on his pro side, but it goes to show you, one brand changed their entire narrative for their history of their company around one athlete. And that, not necessarily saying in college with 4, you got 4 years, but I can tell you, Davion Clowney would have changed a lot of the trajectory of a lot of companies in Columbia, South Carolina. So Marcus Lattimore, and and even going back just even a couple of years, Debo Samuel and Brian Edwards, right? And so, or Sindarius Thornwell, or Tiffany Mitchell,
Stephen Garcia would have been amazing. Stephen Garcia would have been amazing.
I think he would probably be in college if he could have if he could do NIL deals.
I think Village Idiot had a deal for Juice Wells. I guarantee you, Village Idiot would have had a deal for Stephen.
Yes. I don't guarantee. Depending on what the deal was, JC, they never have lost money on the deal. But I talked to a sandwich company here in Columbia a couple weeks ago, and we're working on trying to get each month they have a sandwich named after a student athlete, right? The idea is that they come into the deli and somebody says, oh, I want to get the Lenore Seller special, right? Or whatever it is, right? And so I think there are plenty of opportunities for businesses to it's helpful for the business, and it's helpful for us, and it's helpful for the student athlete.
Yeah. And by the way, business owners out there, not just, we're statewide, right?
That's
the
right.
show is. So not just in Columbia. You don't have to just be in Columbia to sell the Gamecocks. And I know some of you in Horry County have reached out, Charleston County, and some places like that. So don't be bashful. This is
We're not scared. We're not scared to go to Greenville, Spartanburg, and Anderson either, right?
Heck no, that's my hometown, man. People love JC Shurburtt in Spartanburg, right? So yeah, but we can, we're open for everybody. So in fact, I have a business member from Dallas, Texas, and a business member from Atlanta, and one from North Carolina. So it's been out of state a little bit too, or we have a business member. I got to get used to saying we in these conversations. All right, Mark. Well, that's cool, man. We certainly appreciate it. And Jamie, you got anything else for
I just want to remind everybody, garnettrust.com. But again, you can go to the Chief Sports app too if you have that downloaded, and it's very easy. There are 9 different membership levels from $10 a month all the way up to $1,000 a month that are listed on the website. Of course, if you want to work out something different, I'm quite sure guys like Mark will take a phone call. JC will take a phone call. If there's something that you really need to talk that's not there, they'll do it. Is there and we are short on time, but speaking to the common fan here, not the big business, but the common fan who's saying, you know what, I'm glad this thing is under one umbrella. I'd like to get involved, but I've got kids and I've got bills and everything else. Of the memberships that are listed, could you rattle one off that you say, well, look, I understand because we got a lot of people like you, and this one right here is probably going to fit. Here's why. Is there something you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I always point to the $25 a month, the Horseshoe membership. I think it is a really kind of a good baseline. And, I know that JC had the 1801 membership, which I would put in that same kind of category. And I mean, I think that there is $25 a month. In the reality, I mean, you're going to spend that, at a gas station or CVS or wherever else, right? If you can do that to join the Gamecocks. And we're also, one thing, JB, we're working on is trying to find different things. We had a meeting this morning with a company where it's going to be no cost to the consumer, no cost to the business, but we would get $1 back per transaction off of something. And so those are different ways that somebody can help. If they go swipe something, 10 times a month, well, that's $10 a month that they don't have to pay, but that we're getting in return. So we're looking for some more opportunities like that as well.
Absolutely.
If any of you have an opportunity like that, again, garnettrust.com for all their contact info. And then you can reach us on the Chief app as well. If I ever get anything, of course, I just pass it over to y'all because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just have a microphone, Mark. Hey, can't thank you enough for your time. Clearly, anytime you need something, we hope that you'll reach out. And I know you and JC will be attached almost at the hip, which is scary for you. You're right. So good luck with that. But
we'll be all right.
But he's got an incredible mind and heart for Gamecock athletics, and a combo of this between what y'all have been doing and what JC and Cam, his brother, and what they've been doing with Carolina Rise, it could turn into something pretty darn special. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we can continue to help you do that.
Yeah, appreciate it, and look forward to being back on soon.